and give readings for anyone, regardless of where they were. Newspapers carried articles about my work, but it wasn't really until Gertrude was stricken with tuberculosis that the readings were brought home to me. Even with medical treatments, she continued to grow worse and was not expected to live. Finally, the doctor said there was nothing more they could do. A reading was given and recommended osteopathy, inhalants, enemas, dietary changes, and a prescription medication. The advice was followed, and Gertrude returned to perfectly normal health.
There hadn't been anything written about her. I guess, of course, she didn't do anything spectacular like Dad did, but she kept the family together and raised Hughlin and I guess that was a job. So.
Another personal confirmation of the readings came when the family was faced with a second crisis involving their eldest son, Hughlin, who had been playing in Edgar Cayce's photography studio.
The flash burns were so severe that the doctors felt that the eyes could not be saved without taking one of them out. Our family physician told me this, and it was then that I asked Edgar Cayce, my father, to give a reading. When the treatments he recommended were applied, in applications on the eyes, internal medicine, and a change of diet, the eyes began to heal. And in a matter of weeks, they removed the bandages, and I could see.
From that time on, Edgar Cayce immersed himself in giving readings. Each day, he would lie down on a couch, become comfortable, put his hands up to his forehead, and begin to pray. When he saw a brilliant flash of light, it was the signal that he could continue. He'd lower his hands to his stomach, and when his eyelids began to flutter, his wife would give him the appropriate suggestion. In this state, it seemed that he could answer any question or provide any type of information requested. According to the readings, each of us writes the story of our lives through our thoughts, our deeds, and our activities with one another. These accounts are stored in what the readings called the Akashic Records, and it was from this place, as well as from the minds of the individuals for whom he was giving the readings, that Edgar Cayce gathered his psychic information. Although the readings cover thousands of topics such as, who am I? Why am I here? And what is the purpose of life? Many can be categorized into subject areas such as health and healing, philosophy and reincarnation, dreams and dream interpretation, ESP and psychic phenomena, and spiritual growth, meditation, and prayer.
When I think of Edgar Cayce, I think of more than the psychic man, I think of health.
For all healing comes from the one source. Whether there is the application of foods, exercise, medicine, or even the knife, it is to bring to the consciousness of the forces within the body that aid in reproducing themselves, which is the awareness of creative or God forces.
Cayce saw total health as encompassing the physical, mental, and spiritual components of the individual, and offered important insights into how each of us can stay well. The readings make recommendations for hundreds of health concerns, from diet, childbirth, and longevity, to arthritis, cancer, and psoriasis. Called the father of holistic medicine, Cayce was ahead of his time in describing the workings of the human body and foreseeing the direction of health care. Not only did Cayce prescribe treatments for patients, occasionally he even recommended certain doctors for them to go to, although he had no conscious knowledge of them. One such individual was Dr. Harold J. Riley.
I got to know him personally as well as through the readings. The important fact is that these readings were so erudite, and the more I went into them, the more I realized the basic philosophy of the readings were the things that I myself had learned in the different disciplines that I had studied. Usually it was a combination of therapies, all of which worked into what I used afterwards as a current word name called CARE, C-A-R-E, and that stands for circulation, assimilation, relaxation, and elimination. And believe me, when you get those things going in the body, the body doesn't have too much chance to become a good culture medium for a germ.
One of the early readings that was so startling to me, we were in New York, and this lady was having a reading for her son, who was ill. And at the end of this reading, after Mrs. Cayce had given him the suggestion to wake up, he started talking again. He says, we have here the body of Clara Inlow. We would advise that she have surgery for this condition. And I didn't know who Clara Inlow was, where she lived, or anything. And we got back to Dayton 2 or 3 days later, and there was a letter from this lady saying that she just wanted his advice. So she apparently was just thinking about him and about getting his advice, and the reading came through.